Welcome to sj'sclasses. Today we will start reading Sophocles' play Antigone. In my previous session, I gave you a detailed introduction to the playwright or the greatest Greek tragedian Sophocles, and I also gave you an introduction to the play Antigone. So let's begin reading the play. Before we start reading the play, let's understand the characters that are there in this play. We have Ismene and Antigone, who are the daughters of Oedipus. I elaborated the story of Oedipus in the previous session, so I hope you are familiar with the story. The other characters in this tragedy are we have Creon, who is the newly appointed king of Thebes. Earlier it was Oedipus. Oedipus, as he killed his father and married his mother, he blinded himself, he mutilated himself, and he self exiled himself. And later, his two sons, Eteocles and Polynices, they struggled to gain power. As a result, both of them died, and that is how Yocasta's brother, Yocasta is it, Oedipus' wife, Yocasta's brother Creon assumes power. So we have Creon, who is at present the king of Thebes. We have Haman, who is the son of Creon. We have Tiresias, who is a blind prophet. We have a sentry, a messenger. Then we have Eurydice, who is the wife of Creon. We also have a chorus in this particular play. Chorus, as you know, was a significant part, an inevitable part of Greek plays. And in this particular play, the chorus is found by the Greek elders or the Theban elders. So these are the important characters that you come across in this play. Now let's move into the prologue. As I said in the previous session, the Greek tragedy was divided into various parts. The first part is called Prologue. That is where you get an idea regarding the theme or the story of the play. Then we have the Parados, which is the first song sung by chorus. Then we have Stasima. Each Stasimen no, is or are the songs sung by the chorus. And in between two Stasima, you have an episode. And finally, you have the Exodus. So this is how a Greek tragedy is divided. So let's move into the prologue part. The scene is set before the palace at Thebes. Enter Ismene from the central door of the palace. Antigone follows, anxious and urgent. She closes the door carefully and comes to join her sister. So initially we have both the sisters on the stage. We have Antigone as well as Ismene. Let me repeat. They are the daughters of the late king Oedipus. Antigone. Oh sister, Ismene dear, dear sister Ismene, you know how heavy the hand of God is upon us. So Antigone is trying to point out to Ismene how God have been punishing them for a long while. How we who are left must suffer for our father Oedipus. So Oedipus is the person who, or treated as the person for the cause of the punishment or the reason for their present predicament. There is no pain, no sorrow, no suffering, no dishonor we have not shared together, you and I. And now there is something more. Have you heard this order? So Antigone, she wants to convey the news of some particular order. Let's see what that order is. And Antigone continues, this latest order that the king has proclaimed to the city. So this is the order that Antigone is talking about. the latest order given by the king. And as I said earlier, Creon is the newly appointed king and he has made some proclamation. Let's read ahead and understand what that proclamation is. Have you heard how our dearest are being treated like enemies? So some order has been proclaimed by the king, and that is the cause of worry and anxiety for Antigone. And she wants to convey the news to Ismene, her sister. Let's read ahead and understand what that order is. Ismene says, I have heard nothing about any of those we love, neither good nor evil. Not, I mean, since the death of our two brothers, both fallen in a day. So, this is the prologue part, and this is where we understand or we get to know about the background or whatever that has happened of late. And it is from the conversation between Antigone and Ismene that we realize all these or we get a knowledge regarding all these that has happened of late. So Ismene here points out how both their brothers died or perished. So I mean, since the death of our two brothers both fallen in a day. The Argive army, I hear, was withdrawn last night. Now, Argive army refers to the army of the Argos city, and I had pointed out that in my previous session. Polynices, he goes over to the city of Argos. He marries Argia, who is the daughter of King Adrastus of Argos, and he uses the army of the Argos city of King Adrastus to gain control of Thebes. It is in that particular war that both Polynices and Eteocles die. The Argive army, I hear, was withdrawn last night. I know no more to make me sad or glad. So Ismene hasn't come across any bad news. The only bad news that she came across of late is the death of both her brothers. Antigone, I thought you did not. That is why I brought you out here, where we shan't be heard, to tell you something alone. So Antigone is going to convey the news regarding the latest proclamation made by King Creon to Ismene. Ismene, what is it, Antigone? Black news I can see already. So it is something sad. It is something unfortunate. That is what Ismene means by saying black news. Antigone, oh Ismene, what do you think? Our two dear brothers. Creon has given funeral honors to one and not to the other. Nothing but shame and ignominy. Ignominy means dishonor. Eteocles has been buried, they tell me, in state with all honorable observances due to the dead. But Polynices, just as unhappily fallen, the order says he is not to be buried, not to be mourned. So this is the proclamation that has been made by King Creon. Eteocles has been given an honorable burial, and that honorable burial is prevented for Polynices. The order says he is not to be buried. He means Polynices. He is not to be buried, not to be mourned, to be left unburied, unwept, a feast of flesh for keen-eyed carrion birds. So this is what Creon has ordered. This is his proclamation that Polynices will not be given an honorable burial. Let him be wherever he is. He might be a feast for carrion birds, birds that feed on dead animals like vultures. So let him be a feast for keen-eyed carrion birds. That is what he intended through his new proclamation. The noble Creon. It is against you and me he has made this order. So Antigone says that it's not for the general public that he has issued this order, but for us, for both of us, because he knows that we will try to give him an honorable burial. It is against you and me he has made this order. Yes, against me. So to be specific, he has proclaimed or he has issued this new order for me so that I won't do anything that will go against his orders. And soon he will be here himself to make it plain to those that have not heard it and to enforce it. This is no idle threat. The punishment for disobedience is death by stoning. So look at the punishment that has been decided for someone who disobeys King Creon. They will be stoned to death. So now you know, and now is the time to show whether or not you are worthy of your high blood. So Antigone says, now is the time to stand up for your family. Now is the time to show that you belong to your family, that you are worthy of this royal blood. Ismene, my poor Antigone, if this is really true, what more can I do or undo to help you? So as of now, as readers, we understand that Ismene is ready to help Antigone. Let's see what kind of a help does Antigone need. Antigone, will you help me? Will you do something with me? Will you? Ismene, help you do what, Antigone? What do you mean? Antigone, would you help me lift the body? You and me? Ismene, you cannot mean to bury him against the order. So what Antigone wants to do is to give an honorable burial to Polynices. And if she does that, it will be against the order proclaimed by the new king of Thebes, Creon. So Ismene is kind of afraid. She doesn't want to disobey the king. Antigone, is he not my brother and yours? Whether you like it or not, I shall never desert him. Never. So Antigone is determined. She is so determined to give Polynices an honorable burial. She doesn't mind if the new king has proclaimed an order against it, but she is determined to give her brother an honorable burial. Ismene, how could you dare when Creon has expressly forbidden it? Antigone, he has no right to keep me from my own. So Antigone says he cannot stop me from honoring my own brother. Ismene, oh sister, sister, do you forget how our father perished in shame and misery? So please bear in mind that we are going through the prologue part, and it's the prologue part that gives us a story, of a narration of the events that happened in the past and also of late or recently. And it's from the conversation between these two characters that we get all these details. So earlier, Ismene spoke about the death of Polynices and Eteocles. Now she is referring to the tragic death of their father Oedipus. So she says, do you forget how our father perished in shame and misery? His awful sin, self proved, blinded by his own self mutilation. So, what is his awful sin? The sin that he committed, Oedipus committed, is killing his own father and marrying his own mother. That is the awful sin that Ismene is referring to. Self-proved, and it's because Oedipus went after the reasons of the plague that that was spreading across Thebes, that he came to the recognition that it's he who caused the plague, that is the contagious disease that is spreading throughout his city, and that's because he killed his father and married his mother. So it was something which was self-proved and blinded by his own self-mutilation. And as a punishment, he blinded himself. He self-mutilated himself. And then his mother, his wife, for she was both, destroyed herself in a noose of her own making. So Yocasta, she committed suicide. She hanged herself because she couldn't bear this fact that her own son killed her husband and later on, unconsciously married her. So she killed herself. And then his mother, his wife, for she was both, destroyed herself in a noose of her own making. And now our brothers, both in a single day, fallen in an awful exaction of death for death. Exaction means taking by force. So they took each other's life. Fallen in an awful exaction of death for death, blood for blood, each slain by the other's hand. So we have a narration of how their family have suffered for a long time, how their father died, how their mother perished, how Ismenes and Antigone's brothers died. So we have a narration of all these events being made here by Ismene. Now we two left. So the only people who are left are or perhaps the only daughters or children who are left of Oedipus are Ismene and Antigone. Now we two left, and what will be the end of us? If we transgress the law and defy our king, so what will be the consequences if we go against the king, if we disobey the king? So we understand that Ismene is a bit afraid. She is not like Antigone, who is determined to go against the king, to disobey him, and give an honorable burial to Polynices. Oh, think, Antigone, we are women. It is not for us to fight against men. So it's not only that she is afraid, Ismene is afraid, she is also weak. She is also weak at heart. She says, we are women. It's not for us to fight against men. Our rulers are stronger than we, and we must obey in this or in worse than this. So Ismene is of the opinion that our rulers are stronger than us, and therefore we must obey them in this and worse than this. May the dead forgive me. I can do no other but as I am commanded. To do more is madness. So Ismene, she is afraid to act against the King Creon's proclamation. That is very much obvious. She doesn't want to perish in shame and dishonor like her father, mother, and brother. She states that they are women. This is something to be noted. She is not only afraid, but she is also very weak. She is also very a feeble kind of person. So she states that we are women and that we are helpless. And it's not for us to go against these mighty rulers. So she would rather obey them than giving an honorable burial to Polynices. Antigone. No, then I will not ask you for your help. Nor would I thank you for it if you gave it. Go your own way. I will bury my brother. And if I die for it, what happiness! Convicted of reverence, I shall be content to lie beside a brother whom I love. So we understand that Antigone is determined. Even if Ismene doesn't give any help, Antigone is going to do the act. To lie beside a brother whom I love. We have only a little time to please the living, but all eternity to love the dead. So a bit of philosophy there as well. There I shall lie forever. Live if you will. Live and defy the holiest laws of heaven. So Antigone has given us her statement, and this is also the point where the theme of the laws of heaven versus the laws of man, the conflict between the laws of man versus laws of God, creeps in. Antigone believes that the law of heaven or God's law wouldn't prohibit her from committing this particular act, the act of giving funeral rites to a person who is dead. But Creon's laws, man-made laws, prevents her from it. Creon's laws or Creon's this particular law prevents her from it. And she believes in the holiest laws of heaven. And therefore, she is going to move ahead with her decision. I do not defy them. That is what Ismene says. I do not defy them, but I cannot act against the state. I am not strong enough. So we have confirmed the fact that Ismene is a weak character and she is not at all like Antigone. Antigone is bold and ready to act against the even the king, to perform her duties. Antigone, let that be your excuse then. I will go and heap a mound of earth over my brother. Ismene, I fear for you, Antigone. I fear. Antigone, you need not fear for me. Fear for yourself. Okay, we have the conversation continuing between Antigone and Ismene. Antigone, you need not fear for me, fear for yourself. Ismene, at least be secret. Do not breathe a word. I will not betray your secret. And look at Antigone's response. Publish it to all the world, else I shall hate you more. So Antigone feels so angry that she wouldn't mind even if Ismene publishes this news to the world. She says, publish it to the world or else I will hate you more. If you don't say this to the world, the public, the king, I shall hate you more. Ismene, your heart burns. Mine is frozen at the thought. Antigone, I know my duty where true duty lies. Ismene, if you can do it, but you are bound to fail. So Ismene warns her that you are going to fail. You won't be able to successfully complete this act, this deed. They will capture you. Antigone says, when I have tried and failed, I shall have failed. So that would not prevent me from attempting this act. I will definitely attempt. And if I attempt and fail, then I will say that I have failed. Ismene, no sense in starting on a hopeless task. Antigone, oh, I shall hate you if you talk like that. And he will hate you, rightly. Leave me alone with my own madness. No punishment can rob me of my honorable death. Ismene, go then if you are determined to your folly. Folly means foolishness. So go and commit the foolishness. So Ismene believes that going against the state, acting against the king, disobeying Creon is utter foolishness. So Ismene says, go Antigone, go and commit the folly. But remember that those who love you still. But even if you do that, the people who love you will still love you. So Ismene goes into the palace and Antigone leaves the stage by a side exit. Then you have the chorus of the Theban elders. So this is the first chorus and this is the paradox part, the first song that is sung by the chorus. So until now we were going through the prologue part and now we are going to read the paradox, the first song sung by the chorus as they come into the stage. And chorus in Antigone is a group of Theban elders. Hail the sun, the brightest of all that ever dawned on the city of seven gates, city of Thebes. Hail the golden dawn over Dursus river, rising to speed the flight of the white invaders homeward in full retreat. The army of Polynices was gathered against us. In angry dispute, his voice was lifted against us. Like a ravening bird of prey, he swooped around us with white wings flashing with flying plumes, with armed horse ranked in thousands. So please understand that the chorus is talking or narrating to us the war between Argos and Thebes, or the war between Polynices and Eteocles. At the threshold of seven gates in a circle of blood, his swords stood round us. His jaws were opened against us. So chorus, they give us a graphic description of the events that entailed the war. His sword stood round us, his jaws were opened against us. But before he could taste our blood or consume us with fire, he fled with the roar of the dragon behind him, and thunder of war in his ears. The Father of heaven abhors the proud tongue's boasting. He marked the oncoming torrent, the flashing stream of their golden harness, the clash of their battle gear. He heard the invader cry victory over our ramparts. Ramparts means a wall that is used for defense. And smote him with fire to the ground. Down to the ground from the crest of his hurricane onslaught. He swung with the fiery brands of his hate brought low, each and all to their doom of destruction appointed by the God that fighteth for us. So God says that, chorus says that gods were fighting on our behalf. They were fighting from our side against Eteocles and Argive army. Sorry, against Polynices and Argive army. Seven invaders at seven gates, seven defenders spoiled of their bronze for a tribute to Zeus, save two luckless brothers in one fight matched together and in one death laid low. Great is the victory, great be the joy, in the city of Thebes, the city of chariots. Now is the time to fill the temples with glad thanksgiving for warfare ended. Shake the ground with the night-long dances, Bacchus afoot and delight abounding. But see, the king comes here. Creon, the son of Menecius, whom the gods have appointed for us in our recent change of fortune. What matter is it, I wonder, that has led him to call us together by his special proclamation? So, this is the paradox. This is the very first song sung by chorus, and it gives us numerous information. It gives us actually further information regarding the background of the play. And as I said earlier, chorus is formed by a group of Theban elders, and they represent the people of Thebes. And what are the people of Thebes doing as of now? They are celebrating the victory over Thebes, over the Argive army, over the Argo city. It vividly describes this particular paradox. Vividly describes the battle between Eteocles and Polynices. And Chorus says that Zeus and Ares, both of them are gods in Greek mythology. So Zeus and Ares have fought from their side. And the chorus is happy that Thebes or the Theban army were able to defeat Argive army. And this joy must give way to ecstasy, and let's celebrate, let's feast, and let's pay tribute to Bacchus, the god of wine and victory and joy and merrymaking. And we also have a number of imagery that appear in this particular paradox, the choric song. We have the rays of the sun being compared to weapon of war, which the Thebans used to drive away the Argives. And we also have an extended metaphor, the man of Argos, which is on eagle wing, hoping to ruin Thebes. So all these aspects give us much better information regarding the background of the play, especially regarding the battle between Argos and Thebes, or to be specific, the battle between Eteocles and Polynices. The central door is opened and Creon enters. So Creon is the new king of the city of Thebes. Creon, my counselors. So this is what, or this is how he addresses the chorus in the beginning. My counselors. Now that the gods have brought our city safe through a storm of trouble to tranquility, I have called you, especially out of all my people, to conference together, knowing that you were loyal subjects when King Laius reigned. King Laius is Oedipus' father. So you were people who were loyal subjects to King Laius, and when King Oedipus so wisely ruled us. So you were there beside both these kings, King Laius, who was Oedipus' father, and also when King Oedipus wisely ruled us. And again upon this, and upon his death, faithfully served his sons till they in turn fell, both slayers, both slain. Say, so they are both murderers, and both of them have been murdered. They have killed each other. Both stained with their with brother blood, dead in a day, and I, their next of kin, inherited the throne and kingdom which I now possess. So he is the closest of their kin. He is the closest relative. Creon is the closest relative. He is Yocasta's brother. Yocasta is Oedipus' wife. So it's because he is the closest of the kin that he has assumed power. He has assumed the throne. He has ascended to the throne. No other touchstone can test the heart of a man, the temper of his mind and spirit, till he be tried in the practice of authority and rule. For my part, I have always held the view, and hold it still, that a king whose lips are sealed by fear, unwilling to seek advice, is damned. So he says that a king who does not seek advice, a king whose lips are sealed, who does not, speak when he has to speak, he is determined, or he is fortuned to be damned. And no less damned he put is he who puts a friend above his country. So if a king he puts one of his friends above his country, if he does something as a favor for his friend by at the cost of his country, then he is more damned. I have no good word for him, as God above is my witness, who sees all. When I see any danger threatening my people, whatever it may be, I shall declare it. No man who is his country's enemy shall call himself my friend. So I hope you understand whom Creon is talking about. He's referring to Polynices. So he does not want to give an honorable burial to Polynices. And that is why he has made this proclamation that he will be a feast for the keen-eyed carrion birds. And Creon, in this particular speech, perhaps he is trying to justify himself. So he says, no man who is his country's enemy shall call himself my friend. Of this I am sure. Our country is our life. Only when she rides safely have we any friends at all. So only when our country rides safely, then you can say that you have any friends at all. Such is my policy for our common weal. Weal means welfare, the well-being. In pursuance of this, I have made a proclamation. So Creon, so right now we understand that he was trying to justify his proclamation, the latest order that he has given. In pursuance of this means to achieve this particular end, to achieve the goals that I stated earlier. I have made a proclamation concerning the sons of Oedipus as follows. Eteocles, who fell fighting in defense of the city, fighting gallantly is to be honored with burial and with all the rights due to the noble dead. So here King Creon, he elaborates, he details, he points out the proclamation that he has given earlier. He says, Eteocles, who fell fighting in defense of the city, fighting gallantly, gallantly means courageously, is to be honored with burial and with all the rights due to the noble dead. So he must be given an honorable burial. The other, you know whom I mean, his brother Polynices. The other, you know whom I mean, his brother Polynices, who came back from exile intending to burn and destroy his fatherland and the gods of his fatherland, to drink the blood of his kin, to make them slaves. He is to have no grave, no burial, no mourning from anyone. It is forbidden. So King Creon, he reiterates his order or proclamation that he made earlier. He who has come to destroy his fatherland, the gods of his fatherland, to make his subjects, his father's subjects, his slaves, he will not be given any burial, no mourning from anyone. It is forbidden. He is to be left unburied, left to be eaten by dogs and vultures, a horror for all to see. I am determined that never, if I can help it, shall evil triumph over good. So as far as Creon sees it, it was an evil act that was committed by Polynices. To go against, to fight against his own father's city. That was an evil thing to do. And that is why King Creon has given this latest proclamation. And finally he says, alive or dead, the faithful servant of his country shall be rewarded. So if anyone goes against this order, against this proclamation, and if someone captures that person, no, that person will be rewarded. Creon, son of Menecius. So chorus again repeats. Creon, son of Menecius. So Jocasta and Creon, their father is Menecius. Creon, son of Menecius, you have given your judgment for the friend and for the enemy. So as far as Creon is concerned, the friend is Eteocles and enemy is Polynices. You have given your judgment for the friend and for the enemy. As for those that are dead, so for us who remain, your will is law. So Chorus accepts his law, the idea of not giving an honorable burial to Polynices and giving honorable burial to Eteocles is something which is acceptable. They have accepted it. Creon, see then that it be kept. Chorus, my lord, some younger would be fitter for that task. So I pointed out earlier that the chorus is formed by a team of Theban elders, and that is why they say, "My lord, some younger would be fit for that task." So let's assign someone who is very much younger. We are all elders, so we won't be able to do that. So let's assign someone who is younger to keep watch over the dead body. Creon. Watchers are already set over the corpse. Chorus. What other duty then remains for us? Creon. Not to connive at any disobedience. Connive means to encourage some illegal activity. So not to connive at any disobedience. Chorus. If there were any so mad as to ask for death. So to go against king means, asking death. So chorus says, if there is any so mad to ask for death. Creon. Aye, that is the penalty. There is always someone ready to be lured to ruin by hope of gain. So Creon points out that there will be someone who is ready to, lure themselves to some sort of gain. He turns to go. A sentry enters from the side of the stage. Creon pauses at the palace door. So it is at this particular point that a sentry appears, and a sentry is a person who is appointed as a watch guard, someone who watches over something, a person or an object. And in this case, this is the one who is assigned to watch over the dead body of Polynices. Sentry. My lord, if I am out of breath, it is not from haste. I have not been running. So if I am panting, it's not because I have been running. On the contrary, many a time I stopped to think and loitered on the way. Actually, many a time I paused in between and I loitered. I wasted time just like that. Saying to myself, why hurry to your doom, poor fool? And this is what the sentry, the watchman, said to himself. Why are you hurrying to your death, you fool? And then I said, hurry, you fool. If Creon hears this from another man, your head is as good as off. Then the sentry said to himself, he paused himself between on the way to the palace, and then he said, uh, if Creon hears this news from someone else, then your head is as good as off. Then even then you will meet your end. So here I am, as quick as my unwilling haste could bring me. In no great hurry, in fact. So now I am here. But I will tell my story, though it may be nothing after all. And whatever I have to suffer, it can't be more than what God wills. So I cling to that for my comfort. So Sentry has come here to convey some sort of a news. We don't know what it is, but we understand that Sentry, he spent some time thinking whether or not to convey this news to Creon. Creon. Good heavens, man, whatever is the matter? Sentry, to speak of myself first, I never did it. So he's taking an anticipatory bail. He says that it's not I who committed the act, nor so who did it. And I also did not see who committed the act. No one can punish me for that. So it's like he's trying to take some sort of an anticipatory bail. You tell your story with a deal of artful precaution. This is King Creon's response to whatever that sentry said. You are, detailing the events with an artful precaution. You are trying to be cautious. It's evidently something strange. So it's evidently something strange. The news that you are trying to communicate, it's strange. I presume that. Sentry, it is. So strange it is very difficult to tell. Creon, well, out with it. Give me the news, and let's be done with you. Sentry, it is this, sir. The corpse. Someone has just buried it and gone. So this is the news that Sentry wanted to communicate. The corpse means the dead body. The dead body has been buried. The dead body of Polynices has been buried. Dry dust over the body. And this is how the person has buried Polynices. He has, put some dry dust over the body. Creon, what? Who dared to do it? Sentry, I don't know, sir. There was no sign of a pick, no scratch of a shovel. So there were no signs of any implements or tools. The ground was hard and dry. No trace of a wheel. Whoever it was has left no clues behind him. When the sentry on the first watch showed it to us, we were amazed. The corpse was covered from sight, not with a proper grave, just a layer of earth. So the sentry is narrating to us the whole site of the burial. They haven't seen the people who were watching the dead body. They haven't seen who did it, but this is how they found the dead body when they went to it. So as it might be the act of some pious passerby. So it could have been the act of someone who just passed by the place, by the spot where Polynices lay dead. There were no tracks of an animal either, a dog or anything that might have come and mauled the body. Mauled means to eat by, tearing and scratching. You know how a dog eats food, or an animal eats its food, or especially a dead animal. So anything that might have come and mauled the body. Of course, we all started pitching into each other, accusing each other, and might have come to blows, with no one to stop us. For anyone might have done it, but it couldn't be proved against him, and all denied it. So then the watchmen, the sentries, all the sentries, they started fighting against each other, accusing the other that you have done it. No, it's you have done it. And they might have even come to blows. They might have even kind of started, hitting each other. We were already ready to take hot iron in hand and go through fire and swear by God and heaven we hadn't done it. No one knew of anyone that couldn't have thought of doing it. So they were ready to take hot iron in hand. Probably that is how they communicated their innocence. They proclaimed their innocence, to take hot iron in hand. And they were also ready to go through the fire and swear by God and heaven that they haven't done it. So probably Sophocles is pointing out some of the rituals that were done earlier, that were followed earlier during his times, to excavate the truth. So they were ready to take hot iron in hand, and also they were ready to go through the fire and swear that they haven't done it. We hadn't done it, nor knew of anyone that could have thought of doing it, much less done it. Well, we could make nothing of it. Then one of our men said something that made all our blood run cold. Something we could neither refuse to do nor do but at our own risk. So one of the sentries pointed out that we have to do something. What is it? This must be reported to the king. We can't conceal it. So this is what made their blood run cold. This this act must be communicated to King Creon. So it was agreed. We drew lots for it, and I, such is my luck, was chosen. So here I am, as much against my will as yours. I'm sure a bringer of bad news expects no welcome. So the sentries, the watchmen, they drew lots, and this particular sentry, he got the lot, and he was supposed to communicate the fact to this particular act to King Creon, and that is why he is there. Chorus: My lord, I fear. I feared it from the first, that this might prove to be an act of the gods. So this is how Chorus interprets this particular act, that this act is done by gods. Creon: Enough of that, or I shall lose my patience. Don't talk like an old fool. So earlier, I hope you remember how King Creon addressed Chorus. He addressed them as my counselors. And now he says, don't act like an old fool, although you be. Blasphemy to say the gods could give a thought to carrion flesh, held him in high esteem, I suppose, and buried him like a benefactor, a man who came to burn their temples down, ransack their holy shrines, their land, their laws. The Creon says it's foolishness, it's unholy to think that God would spend time for a person who actually came to the city to destroy their temples, to ransack their shrines. So it's foolishness to think so. It's unholy to think so. It's blasphemy to think so. Is that the sort of man you think gods love? So do you think gods love such a person? Not there. No. There is a party of malcontents in the city, rebels against my word and law, shakers of their head, in secret, impatient of rule. They are the people, I see it well enough, who have bribed their instruments to do this thing. Money. Money is the curse of man. none greater. So Creon believes that someone has done this act for money. And that is what they has lured. Money is what has lured them into this particular act. That is what wrecks cities, banishes men from home, tempts and deludes the most well-meaning soul, pointing out the way to infamy and shame. So money is the reason for all this. Creon believes that money is the reason behind destruction of cities, exilement of men from home, what tempts people, and also what leads people to infamy. Infamy means evil fame, infamy and shame. Well, they shall pay for their success. And this is what Creon has decided. He will definitely punish whoever that committed the act. They will pay for their success. They have succeeded in, giving a burial to Polynices, but they shall pay. And he says to the sentry, see to it, see to it, you, upon my oath I swear, as Zeus is my God above. Either you find the perpetrator of this burial and bring him here into my sight, or death. So this is what Creon tells to the sentry, the watchman. Bring the perpetrator, the one who has committed this act here, or you shall pay for it. I will kill you. No, not your mere death shall pay the reckoning, but for a living lesson against such infamy, you shall be racked and tortured till you tell the whole truth of this outrage. So you won't die just like that, you will be racked and tortured to death. Racked means tormented. So you will be tormented and tortured until the truth comes out, until you give me the truth. So the sentry understands that he is not in a good position. If he if he doesn't find out the truth, he might as well meet with his end. So you may learn to seek your gain where the gain is used to get, not try to grasp it everywhere. So seek gain only where you get it. You don't have to seek profit or gain everywhere. Seek for it only where it is there. In wickedness, you will find more loss than profit. So if you are planning to do any sort of evil thing, if you are planning to do anything that is wicked, then you will only get loss. You will only lose. You will not gain any profit. Sentry, may I say more? Creon, no more. Each word you say but stings me more. Sentry, stings in your ears, sir, or in your deeper feelings? Creon, don't bandy words. Bandy means make a discussion or exchange words. Don't bandy words, fellow, about my feelings. Sentry, though I offend your ears, sir, it is not I, but he that is guilty that offends your soul. So the sentry asks, why do you want to kill me? It's not I who offended you. Why do you want to torment and torture me to death? It's the person who committed this act who must be tortured and tormented. So why are you doing this to me? That is what the sentry asks him. Creon, oh, born to argue, were you? Sentry, maybe so, but still not guilty in this business. So please understand that I am not guilty. I haven't done this act. It's someone else. So you must actually punish that person. Creon, doubly so, if you have sold your soul for money. So I will punish you as well as the person who committed it if you have, sold your soul for money. If you have done this for money. Sentry, to think that thinking men should think so wrongly. So this is a statement that he makes on Creon. To think that thinking men, a man who is, who has the wisdom like Creon's, that Creon should think so wrongly. Creon, think what you will, but if you fail to find the doer of this deed, you will learn one thing. Ill-gotten gain brings no one any good. So he says that whether you bring that person, the perpetrator or not, you will learn one thing. Ill-gotten gain, gain that you got by doing ill things, evil things. It will not bring any good to anyone. And Creon, after saying this, he goes into the palace. Sentry, well, heaven send they find him, but whether or no, they will not find me again. That is sure. So whether or not the king, Creon, finds the perpetrator or not, they will not find me again. I'm going to run away. Once free, who never thought to see another day, I will thank my lucky stars and keep away. So he says, I did not think that I will escape my death. I not think that I will get another day to live. So now that I am free, I'll just go away from this place. And he exits. So this is where we will stop for the day. So I hope you have understood the prologue part, the paradox, and as well as the first episode. So the first episode means the that part between two stasima, stasimon 1 and stasimon 2. So I hope you have a clear understanding regarding the play so far. Thank you so much for being with me.